The creature in the cage. Jace opened his eyes slowly. His head hurt. His ship was broken. Flames and smoke surrounded him. He had crash-landed on an unknown alien planet. He pulled himself up, coughing. The jungle around him was dark and wet. Strange plants glowed with soft light. Tall trees with purple leaves reached the sky. He touched his side. No broken bones, just bruises. A low, painful sound caught his attention. Not far from the wreck, something moved. Carefully, Jace walked toward it. He pushed away a piece of metal. There, inside a broken cage, was a small creature. It had silver fur, big eyes, and a wounded leg. It looked up at him, shaking in fear. Jace stared at the tiny alien. It was no bigger than a house cat. Its body was thin, and its ribs showed. It must have been locked in the ship's holding cage. He didn't remember it being part of the cargo. Maybe it snuck in. Maybe someone left it there on purpose. It growled weakly, trying to defend itself. "I won't hurt you," Jace said softly. The creature didn't understand his words, but it stopped growling. Maybe it sensed he wasn't a threat. Jace carefully reached into his bag and pulled out a small food pack. He opened it and placed it near the creature. It sniffed, then licked the food. Its eyes blinked slowly, still watching Jace. "You're just a baby," he whispered. He looked at the cage. It had been locked tight before the crash. Who would lock up something so small? And why? He didn't know, but he knew one thing. It wouldn't survive long alone out here. He picked up the little creature gently. It didn't fight him. Its breathing was weak. He wrapped it in part of his jacket and tucked it inside his backpack, letting its head peek out. "I'll take care of you." Hours later, Jace stumbled into the edge of a tribal village. Strange alien huts made from stone and bone stood in circles. Fires burned in the center. Creatures of many colors and shapes walked around, all clearly alien. Some had tails, others horns, some with glowing skin. They stopped when they saw Jace. Humans were rare here. He had landed far from the main galaxy routes. An older alien warrior approached. His eyes were narrow, his muscles large. He wore a necklace of teeth. "You are not welcome here, human," the warrior said. Jace raised his hands. "I need shelter. My ship crashed. I have no weapons, just this small creature." The warrior's eyes fell on the little furred alien in his backpack. "That thing?" he said, laughing. "It's food where you are now. Weak. Useless." A crowd gathered, laughing too. Jace said nothing. He didn't care if they laughed. He only wanted safety, and food, and help for the injured creature. A young alien woman stepped forward. Her skin was soft blue. She wore a robe made from silk and feathers. Her eyes were sharp but curious. She looked at the small creature. "You care for that beast?" she asked. "Yes," Jace replied. She tilted her head. "Strange human. My name is Valara. I am the daughter of the chief." Jace nodded. "I'm Jace, and this little guy, I think I'll call him Rex." The tribe allowed Jace to stay, but only in a broken hut. Near the edge of the village, he had no bed, no food, but it was safe, for now. That night, Jace lit a small fire and cleaned Rex's wound. He gave him water. The creature licked his hand, then fell asleep on his chest. Its breathing was calm. "Good boy," Jace whispered. In the days that followed, Jace worked hard. He helped with small tasks, gathering wood, fixing tools. The tribe didn't trust him, but they stopped throwing things at him. The children liked Rex, but the warriors still laughed at the idea of raising a wild beast. They said, "Why feed that thing? It will die or bite you." But Jace didn't stop. Every day he trained Rex. He used old survival skills, taught him to listen, to follow, to stay close. And Rex learned fast. His eyes became sharper, his claws stronger. He started following Jace everywhere like a shadow. Valara often watched, from a distance. She was quiet but curious. She had seen many animals, but none like Rex. His kind didn't belong here, and something about him felt ancient. One night, the old priest of the tribe came to Jace's hut. He stared at Rex for a long time, then said only one thing. You don't know what you carry, human. That creature is not just a beast. Then he left. Jace looked down at Rex. What are you? He asked. Rex didn't answer, but his eyes glowed faintly in the dark. The laughing tribet started with a challenge. One morning, Jace stepped out of his hut to find a group of alien children, throwing stones at a wooden post. On that post, someone had drawn a picture, a rough sketch of a human with a small creature on his shoulder, both with big silly eyes and crooked teeth. They were laughing at him. Even Valara, the chief's daughter, stood nearby, watching with folded arms and a half-smile. One of the warriors, tall and loud, named Korzek, pointed at Jace and shouted, "Human pet keeper, come show us your mighty beast." The others roared with laughter. Jace stayed calm. He knelt down and tapped his chest. "Rex, come." A bush moved. The laughter stopped. Rex stepped out slowly, but something had changed since yesterday. He walked with more confidence now. His body was growing fast. His silver fur looked shinier, thicker, his claws longer, his eyes sharper. He didn't bark or growl. He just stood by Jace's side, silent and steady, like a trained warrior. Still, the tribe laughed. "Train it all you want," said Korzek. "It's still food." Valara walked up, her eyes locked on Rex. "Or maybe it's something else," she whispered. Korzek scoffed. "It's a joke." Jace looked him in the eye. "Want to test that?" That night, while the tribe celebrated a hunting win, Jace walked to the jungle's edge with Rex. He didn't trust the smiles of the warriors, especially Korzek. He set up a few stones and branches in an open space. It was his new training ground. "All right, Rex," he whispered. "Let's see what you remember." Rex crouched, tail flicking. Jace tossed a bone to the left. Rex caught it mid-air, then to the right, then up. Rex jumped and snatched it. But it wasn't just tricks. Rex was learning faster than any normal animal. He understood commands after hearing them once. He tracked smells that were days old. And when Jace faked a fall, Rex stood protectively in front of him, growling like a guard. Later, Valara approached quietly. "That's not normal," she said. "I know," Jace replied. She watched for a moment, then said, "My father will order it killed." Jace looked down. "Then I'll take him and leave." "No," she said quickly. "That will only make them chase you. My father believes strength is the only language." Jace sighed. "Then I'll show him Rex can be strong." She looked at him, eyes narrowed. "Strong is not enough, you'll have to prove it in the pit." Jace frowned. "What pit?" Valara turned and walked away. "You'll find out soon." The next morning, it happened. 2 guards grabbed Jace and pulled him toward the center of the village. Valara stood beside her father, Chief Mandar, whose eyes were cold and sharp like blades. Korzek smiled wide. "Let's see what the human and his toy can do." A large crowd had gathered around, a deep hole in the ground surrounded by stone and bones. It was a sacred space called the Pit of Worth. Jace looked at Valara. She gave him a small nod. "You want me to fight?" Jace asked the chief. "No," Mandar said. "I want your creature to survive. If it doesn't, we throw it, and you, into the swamp." Jace looked at Rex. The creature's tail was still, but his breathing was heavy. He knew something serious was happening. "All right," Jace said. "We accept." The gate to the pit opened. Jace and Rex stepped in. It was quiet. Too quiet. Then a growl echoed from a dark tunnel. Something large stepped forward. 4 legs. Black skin, yellow eyes, long teeth, a jungle stalker, the tribe's sacred beast, used for trials, known to kill even trained hunters. Rex stood still. The beast snarled. Then Rex did something no one expected. He roared. It wasn't a baby sound. It was loud, deep, full of power and fear. The stalker paused, then charged. The tribe leaned in. "Jace," whispered. "Now, Rex. Show them." Rex moved like lightning. He dodged left, then right. then leapt onto the beast's back and bit down hard. The stalker shook wildly, but Rex held on. With claws and teeth, Rex took the creature down. Silence fell over the pit. Jace walked out slowly, Rex limping beside him but proud. No one laughed now, not even Korzek. And for the first time, Chief Mandar looked at Jace with interest. Blood in the leaves, the jungle was too quiet. Valara stood near the edge of the village, eyes locked on the trees. The hunting party was late, 4 hours late. She felt it in her chest. Something was wrong. A loud horn blew from the forest trail. Warriors ran toward it. Jace, carrying a basket of wood, dropped everything and followed. 2 warriors returned, but only 2. They dragged behind them a third man, unconscious and covered in deep claw marks. His chest bled. His armor was torn open. The tribe gasped. As they saw his face, it was the chief's younger cousin. One of the returning hunters, gasping for air, cried out, "We were ambushed. But not by rivals, it was a beast, one we've never seen." Valara's breath caught. Chief Mandar appeared, shouting, "What beast? Speak clearly." The man's lips trembled. It walked like a shadow, eyes like silver fire. Fast as lightning, it killed them before they could scream. Silence fell. Then, someone from the crowd pointed. There, the human and his creature. They were gone from the village this morning. All eyes turned to Jace. Rex stood beside him, calm, still. But his claws were red. Jace looked down. His heart skipped. The blood wasn't dry yet. Minutes later, Jace sat inside a stone cage, locked and watched. Torches burned all around. Valara entered alone. "You didn't do this, right?" she asked quietly. Jace shook his head. "We were in the eastern canyon. I was training Rex. There were no hunters there." She walked closer, whispering, "Then how do you explain the blood?" Jace sighed. "He protected me. We were attacked by something else. A shadow. Rex fought it off. I didn't even see it clearly." Valara looked at Rex. The creature sat still in the corner, watching the flames through the bars. His silver eyes reflected the firelight, beautiful and terrifying at once. "My people are scared," Valara said. "But I've seen fear before. This is different. It's not just fear, it's awakening." "What do you mean?" "The old stories," she said. "Legends. Of a creature that was once the end of kings. A protector of no one. A judge of all. They called it the Nightborn. Eyes like yours, Rex. Eyes that shined when blood was near." Jace swallowed hard. "You think Rex is that creature?" "I think," Valara said, "he might be its heir." Later that night, the village elders held a secret meeting. Inside, a stone chamber lit by blue fire, voices argued. "He's hiding something. No beast could kill so fast unless trained. What if the human has bonded with the ancient blood?" Chief Mandar stood, slamming his fist. "Enough. We will not panic. But if one more of our people dies in that jungle, I will burn that creature myself." Outside, Korzek smiled. He had waited for this moment. The next morning, a horn blew again. This time it wasn't hunters, it was a child, screaming. A young girl had run into the jungle after her pet bird. She hadn't returned. Jace heard the chaos and stood up. The guards blocked him from leaving, but then Rex growled low. His nose lifted. He smelled something. He turned toward the jungle, then looked back at Jace. "Let him go," Valara said. "He knows where she is." Korzek stepped in front. "If he fails, we lose nothing." Jace ran into the trees with Rex by his side. Inside the jungle, it was dark and cold. The trees whispered in a language only nature understood. Rex moved fast, stopping at broken leaves, sniffing, listening. Then they heard it. A scream. Jace burst through the branches and saw her, the child cornered by a huge, shadowy beast. Black skin, long claws, yellow fangs. Rex didn't wait. He charged. The beast roared and met him head-on. The two collided in a fury of claws and teeth. Jace grabbed the girl and pulled her away as the fight raged behind them. Branches cracked. Blood sprayed. Bones snapped. Then, a final howl. Rex stood over the fallen beast, chest rising and falling. Wounded, but alive. He turned toward Jace and limped forward. The girl stared wide-eyed. "It saved me." Jace smiled. He always does. That night, the village changed. Rex was no longer a joke. He was the protector. But in the deep corners of the jungle, more shadows moved. Beasts with silver blood and black hearts. And in his dreams, Rex saw them, waiting, calling. The training pit. The fire crackled in the center of the village, but no one was dancing tonight. Everyone's eyes were on Chief Mandar, who stood tall on the stone platform, his voice echoing through the crowd. "The beast has tasted blood. Whether he saved the child or not, it must now prove its loyalty." Jace stood beside Rex, fists clenched. He had saved them. Again. But it was never enough. Then the words came that he feared. The human and his creature will face the trial of stone and flame. They will enter the old pit. If they survive, they stay. If not. He didn't finish. The sentence, he didn't have to. Valara stepped forward. "That pit was closed generations ago," her father growled, "because no one came out alive. If this human believes his beast is more than a monster, then let him prove it there." By sunrise, the tribe gathered near the cliffs outside the village. Below the edge, carved into ancient rock, lay the old pit, a forgotten arena used long ago to train weapons and kill traitors, deep, dark, and cruel. Jace looked down at it. He felt his heartbeat rise, not from fear, but from something else. A strange pull, like the pit was calling Rex home. Korzek stood near the entrance, holding a long horn made from bone. "This was used in the last trial," he said, "to signal the end, or a death." He handed it to Jace. "Blow it only if you beg for mercy." Jace didn't respond. He stepped inside. Rex followed. The inside of the pit was worse than Jace imagined. Jagged walls, burning steam from cracks in the ground, sharp rocks. The air smelled like rust and old fire. A gate closed behind them. The walls shook. Something big was waking up. Suddenly, a deep metallic growl echoed across the space. From a hidden door, a massive creature stepped forward, part machine, part flesh. Its back was covered in steel plates. Its eyes glowed red. Valara gasped from above. "That's a hybrid warden. Old. Forgotten. It had been left here long ago, part of the ancient tribal experiments." Korzek laughed. "Let's see if your pet can fight a ghost from the old wars," Jace whispered. "You ready, Rex?" But Rex was no longer still. He was changing again. Before Jace's eyes, his fur darkened. Spikes rose slightly from his back. His pupils narrowed into slits. A growl rumbled from deep in his chest. Not fear. Something deeper. Memory. The hybrid warden. Charged. Rex didn't wait. He leapt straight at it. The crash echoed through the pit. Metal scraped against claw. Sparks flew. The hybrid swiped with a heavy arm, throwing Rex across the stones. Jace shouted, but Rex stood back up, limping, bleeding, but more alive than ever. He roared again. This time, the pit responded. A strange symbol on the wall began to glow. The same symbol that had once appeared on Rex's chest when he was a pup. Valara's eyes widened. "It's true," she whispered. "He's not just any beast. He's connected to the ancients." The hybrid warden paused, sensing something, but Rex was already moving, faster than before, stronger. His claws now, cut into metal. Jace watched, heart racing, as Rex climbed onto the beast's back and struck the glowing core behind its neck. The hybrid warden let out a dying scream, then fell, dead. The pit was silent. Then the gate opened. The crowd was speechless. Jace and Rex walked out, burned, scarred, and victorious. Chief Mandar stood frozen. He had no words. Korzek stepped back. Valara stepped forward. She held up her hand. "The trial is over," she said. The human and his companion are more than tribe-worthy. They are sacred. Rex looked up at the crowd, his eyes calm again. But deep inside, something had awakened. Old instincts, old knowledge. Something ancient was returning, and the pit had only been the beginning. The princess's dilemma Valara sat alone beneath the moonvine tree, its glowing blue leaves falling gently around her. In her hand she held a cracked stone tablet, an old story her mother once read to her as a child. A beast from the stars, a human who walked with it, a kingdom that fell or was saved. She used to think it was a bedtime tale, but now she had seen it. Alive. Rex was no longer just a creature. He had survived the old pit, killed the hybrid warden, and when he roared, the ancient symbol glowed from deep within his chest. That symbol was only found in ruins so old, even the elders feared them. And Jace, he didn't act like a conqueror. He acted like someone protecting family. Valara closed the tablet. The decision was heavy. Her father, Chief Mandar, had summoned the council. At dawn, they would decide the fate of the human and the beast. But tonight, she had to decide her place in it. Jace sat inside the healer's tent, patching his arm. Rex lay beside him, resting but alert. Valara entered without a word. She stood in front of him, her voice quiet. "Why do you stay? You could have left." Jace looked up. "Because I made a promise, not to the tribe, but to Rex. I won't leave him." She stepped closer. "Do you know what you've done?" Jace nodded. "Survived." "Barely." "No," she said. "You've shaken the foundation of my people. You've awakened bloodlines we buried in fear. You've made the strongest warriors question their place. And my father now fears you." Jace sighed. "Then maybe I should go." Valara shook her head. "He won't allow that. If you leave, they'll follow you, hunt you, kill Rex out of fear." Jace stood up. "Then what do you want me to do?" Valara hesitated, then said something no one had expected, not even herself. "Bond with me." Jace blinked. "What?" "Our tribe follows strength, but also tradition. If I choose a bond mate, one, proven in trial, chosen by spirit, the council cannot argue. You'll be protected, Rex, too." "You want to marry me?" Valara's face flushed, but her voice stayed calm. "Not because of love, because of survival. For now." Jace looked down at Rex, who opened one eye as if understanding. "I didn't come here to take power," Jace said. Valara replied, "But power is looking at you anyway." Outside, Chief Mandar sharpened his blade slowly. Korzek stood beside him, nervous. "You won't allow it, will you?" Korzek asked. Mandar didn't answer at first. Then, "If my daughter ties her name to the human, it ends everything we've built. I'd rather burn the throne." Korzek grinned. "Then give the order." Mandar's eyes narrowed. "Tonight, quietly, end it before the council meets." That night, under the stars, Valara took Jace and Rex to the top of a sacred cliff, hidden and forgotten. This was where her mother once stood when she bonded with Mandar. "This place," she said, "is older than the tribe, older than names. If we speak vows here, the ancestors will hear it. It becomes unbreakable." Jace looked out across the glowing jungle. He felt peace and a strange sense of destiny. Valara took his hand and pressed a glowing vine across both their palms. The sap sparkled as it mixed their blood. "Do you swear to protect this world and the life that walks beside you?" she asked. "I do," Jace replied. But before she could speak her part, an arrow flew past them. Rex roared. Another arrow struck the ground. From the trees, masked warriors charged, Korzek leading them. "No bond will save you now," he shouted. Jace grabbed Valara and ducked. Rex leapt into battle, slamming into the first attacker. Blood splashed, bones broke, but they were surrounded. Jace grabbed a spear from the ground and stood back to back. With Valara, "You sure about this bond now?" he shouted. She smiled, drawing her blade. Too late to change my mind. Together they fought. Man, princess, and predator. The attackers fell one by one. Finally, Korzek faced Rex, panting, wounded. He raised his sword. You're just a beast. But Rex dodged the strike, then knocked Korzek down, placing a heavy paw on his chest. Korzek froze. Rex looked at Jace, waiting. Jace walked forward. No killing, he said. Let him crawl back to the chief and tell him the truth. Rex stepped off. Korzek coughed and ran. Valara looked at Jace. The bond was sealed, but war had just begun. When Predator Rice's smoke rose over the village, the alarm horns had not sounded, but the air was wrong, heavy, tense. Every bird had gone silent. Valara stood on the chieftain's stone platform. Blood still stained her blade from the ambush the night before. She had bonded herself to a human, publicly against her father's will, and now her father had vanished. Jace stood beside her. Rex growled quietly, tail low, nose sniffing the wind. Where is Chief Mandar? Jace asked. Valara didn't answer right away. Instead, a messenger ran into the village square, breathless and pale. They're coming, he gasped. From the canyon, not one tribe, all three, united. They carry banners of war. The crowd began to panic. Valara turned to Jace. The old tribes, our enemies, must have heard about the trial, about Rex. Jace clenched his jaw. They want him, or they fear what he might become. Hours later, the battlefield formed in the valley below the cliffs. Over 200 warriors from rival tribes had gathered, riders with bone spears, beasts with armored hides, and shadow archers from the north. All had one goal: destroy the creature from the human's bloodline before it could awaken the old blood fully. Back in the village, the council shouted, "This is your fault," one elder screamed. "You brought this predator into our lives," said another. "Give the beast to them. Sacrifice him." Jace stepped forward, his voice loud and steady. "You call him a beast. But he saved your children. He fought in your pit. He guarded your gates. And now, you would hand him over?" He looked to Valara. "We won't run, not today." She nodded. "Then we lead." They marched out as the sun fell. Jace in the front, spear in hand. Rex by his side, silent but burning inside. His breathing was heavy. Too heavy. Valara whispered, "He's changing again." As they reached the field, drums beat like thunder. From the enemy side, a warlord stepped forward. Cloaked in bones, face covered in red paint, his voice boomed. "Give us the beast that killed the hybrid warden, or we take your heads." Jace didn't answer. Rex stepped forward, and then it began. Volley of flaming arrows filled the sky. The villagers screamed. Jace raised his shield. "Hold the line!" But Rex roared. Not like before. This roar cracked the sky. It wasn't just a sound, it was a call. And deep in the jungle, something answered. From behind the cliffs, from forgotten caves, from cracks in the ground, creatures began to emerge. Silver-eyed. Clawed. Silent. Others like Rex. Not as big, not as strong, but connected. The army froze. Even the warlord took a step back. Valara gasped. He called them. Rex moved forward, leading the pack of ancient predators. Then, he charged. What followed was not battle, it was awakening. Rex and his kin moved like shadows, slicing through enemy lines. Jace fought beside them, swinging his spear, defending Valara, pushing through fear. The warlord struck at Jace, but Rex blocked him. The two locked eyes. The warlord hissed. "That thing isn't yours." Jace stabbed forward. "No, he chose me." Rex tackled the warlord, knocking him down with a single blow, but instead of killing him, he stopped and looked to Jace again, waiting. Jace stared down at the warlord, sword raised, but then lowered it. "We don't rule with fear," Jace said. "That's what you all don't understand." Rex stepped aside. The warlord scrambled back, broken, and as he crawled away, the rest of the army followed. They had not come for war. They had come to stop a myth. But that myth stood before them, alive, and it had shown mercy. Back at the village, the people watched in silence as Rex stood at the gates, surrounded by smaller versions of himself. Some walked beside him. Others faded into the trees, answering a call older than memory. Valara stepped forward and looked into Rex's glowing eyes. "He's not just a beast," she whispered. "He's a bridge between what we were and what we must become." Jace put a hand on Rex's back. "You're not alone anymore." But far off, deep in the sky, a cold voice echoed from a satellite beacon. "Subject 3X9 located. Engage extraction protocol." Unseen eyes had been watching, and Rex's true past was still waiting. Her final choice. The stars above shimmered unnaturally. Something new had entered orbit. Valara stood on the high cliffs beside Jace, wind whipping through her hair. Below, the village lights flickered. Beyond them, the jungle glowed softly with life and danger. Rex sat at the edge, staring up at the sky. He knew. They were coming, not rival tribes, not beasts, humans, but not like Jace. These ones wore metal, spoke only in commands, and believed in control. Earlier that day, a voice had spoken from the clouds. A ship cloaked in light hovered above the trees. "This is Earth Extraction Command. We are retrieving Experimental Unit 3X9. Do not resist. The subject is classified." The village fell silent. Jace stood between the ship and Rex. "No. He's not going anywhere with you," the voice replied coldly. "Unit 3X9 was engineered to adapt and evolve. He is not your pet. He is property." Valara stepped beside Jace. "Here, he is not property. He is guardian, friend, family." The ship replied, "You have 12 hours before retrieval. Comply or face removal by force." Now, on the cliff, the choice weighed on her like a mountain. Jace looked at Valara. "They won't stop. They'll burn this planet to get him." "We can fight," she said. "We can die," he answered. She turned to Rex. He was calm, but alert. His kind, the ones who answered his call during the battle, had returned to the shadows. He alone stayed behind. Valara stepped closer to Rex, placed her hand on his head. "You are more than what they made you," she whispered. "But now, we have to choose what you will become." Rex blinked slowly, and then stood. They didn't run. They met the drop team face to face. 4 armored soldiers, plasma rifles, drones circling overhead. Rex growled, low and rumbling. The commander stepped forward. "Stand down, or be neutralized." Jace stood between them. "Rex is not your weapon anymore." The commander raised his weapon. "Then he is a threat." In one breathless second, Rex moved. He leapt, not to kill but to disable. He shattered drones mid-air, crushed the soldiers' weapons with precise strikes. He could have destroyed them all, but he didn't. He showed control. "The mine?" Commander fell back, terrified. "This thing, it's thinking." Valara nodded. "He's deciding." The soldiers retreated. The ship hovered in silence. Then the voice returned, this time uncertain. "Unit 3X9. Request protocol input. Do you wish to return?" Everyone froze. The ship was asking. Rex stepped forward, then turned his back on the ship. He sat beside Jace and growled once, deep and final. The voice fell silent. Then the ship began to rise and disappeared into the clouds. Back in the village, the people waited. Valara returned, holding Rex's paw like a warrior's hand. Jace stood beside her, shoulders heavy, but proud. The council gathered once more. Chief Mandar had not been seen. Again. Some said he ran. Some said he was watching from the shadows, too ashamed to return. Valara stepped forward. "I am no longer a princess," she said, voice strong. "Today, I am tribe leader. Not because of blood, but because of choice." She looked at Jace. "At my side stands a man not born of this world, but who bled for it. He trained what you feared, and he protected us when we were ready to throw him away. Then she turned to Rex, and beside him stands the creature you called a monster. But he is more. He is what we must become. Fierce, but merciful. Born of war, but longing for peace. She raised her hand. I ask you, not to follow me, but to stand with me. Slowly, one by one, the warriors bent their knees. Then the council. Then the children. The village had chosen. Not out of fear, but hope. That night, as the moons rose, Valara and Jace stood on the high ridge once more, overlooking a world forever changed. You know they'll come back, Jace said. Valara nodded. Then let them see who we are when they do. Below them, Rex sat, watching the stars. No longer a cage, but a sky wide open.